Good evening, guys. I thought I'd add a little bit more stitching to my slow stitch blouse, including the sleeves. I'm starting to add a little bit more here and there. I just can't get enough of this. It's so much fun. And this was a blouse that was sitting in my studio shop for ages, and I realised it fitted me, but I wasn't really into it. So adding all this detail, I suddenly love it. I'm having so much fun adding more and more and kind of building it. And as you can see, my stitches are fairly rustic. There's no particular, as well as you can see me making mistakes here and pulling apart, but it's about the enjoyment of stitching rather than the perfect finish for me. It's about building colour, texture. I like feeling the stitches. I love the feeling of them. So I think if you haven't tried this, go for it and have a bit of fun. And if you hate it, you can always unpick it. So I just thought you might like to sit with me tonight while I do a bit of this because I've had 2 weeks off. I went to Japan and no, I could not find a sashiko workshop in the time that I was there. But I did buy a lot of sashiko threads. I got some needles. I got some amazing fabrics. You'll see a little bit of those further in the video. And I will get them online on my studio shop website maybe next week. I am still a bit tired. I've got a lot of catching up to do. I had orders to get out today and the shop was open, and tomorrow I'll go back to the shop and help Kevin. He's got the shop open tomorrow, and I think I'll redo the main window, get some more products online, and keep tidying. So it's always a bit slow, you know, even though I feel jet lagged. Japan has only 2 hours difference to where we are in the Blue Mountains, but I think that it's kind of hit me hard. And also it was 0 degrees, very snowy. It was one of the coldest winters this year, and I've come back to around 30 degrees Celsius, and it's thrown me a bit of a wobbly. So this is the second sleeve. I've done the first. This one looks a bit mashed here and there. I'm looking at that now thinking it's a bit tight, but that's okay. It's about just having a go at it, and I'm mixing the stitches around a bit. I kind of like how it looks a bit, I don't know even what you call it, besides rough, but a little bit tribal, a little bit ethnic in its patterns. And I do the occasional cross. I like to change it up here and there. And I should probably have a go at some more intricate stitches, but I find this rhythmic stitching using this style of stitching, I think, you know, if you call it sashiko or kantha or whatever you call it, I can watch YouTube. As you know, I do love to watch my political YouTube guys. I like to watch scam bait stuff. I like to watch true crime. And doing this kind of stitching I find is quite easy while I'm doing that. So I can enjoy my cup of tea. I can focus on what's happening on YouTube as well as stitch at the same time. So that suits me perfectly. And you can see here, when I look up or do something else, I get everything caught on buttons and things like that. But this is really enjoyable, and we're doing more and more workshops and stuff where we are trying to, I say we, I mean the shop and me, it's just me. But I am trying to encourage other makers, perhaps they could use the studio space for workshops as well. But I do find for my active brain, I've kind of got an overactive brain, this stitching really helps me. I find it meditative, is that the word? And I do slow down and I have such joy. I like the sound of the thread and needle going through, and I'd love for anyone else, if they haven't tried this, to consider it. So I do have vintage fabrics and doilies and tablecloths and all that stuff online. I've also collecting more and more vintage check wool blankets, which I cut up. I wash them and then I cut them up to a more usable size, so you could do pouches or hot water bottles, or, you know, patching up for quilts. And I like to do just squares or smaller pieces, which then I can build or add later. And I sometimes do a mixture of machine as well as hand stitching. I don't know what I've done here. Oh, the threads come unraveled, so I'm trying to fix that. And I think whatever your poison is, go for it. So if you enjoy something methodical, or you like to do something with your hands in the evening, this is a great way of something you could do in front of the television. You know, you could darn your socks, you could make something. But these slow methodical stitches I think are quite sort of perfect for my brain. You can see the panel behind on the what do you call that? The yoke of the shirt or the blouse. I've got it quite intricate, and I do have other reels on Instagram and YouTube showing me building that. So that has a lot of vintage doilies, crochet, bits and pieces that I've kind of collaged, and then I've filled the gaps with my stitching. And I'm now doing a coat. I'm doing some other bits and pieces. I've done bags. I've yesterday made a great face washer, what we call in Australia. I can't remember what my cousins call it, something else. I met my American cousins in Japan. They called it something else, but we call them like a cotton face washer made of toweling in a little square. And I saw in Japan the idea of washcloths where one side is using recycled fabrics and things, and then the other side is your traditional cloth. So I got out heaps of scraps yesterday and built a big square, then attached that to the face washer, both inside out, and sewed most of it, leaving a gap, and then turned it inside out and finished it with a blanket stitch. And it's really lovely. It's not something that I would have thought traditionally would be great as a face washer, but it's so pretty and it would make a great gift for someone. So I'm thinking a lovely sashiko wool hot water bottle cover would be great, and some other ideas. And I think they'd be fun as a workshop idea too, that we could do in the studio shop here in the Blue Mountains. I don't know if I'm talking too much. I get a bit overexcited with this kind of stuff. And having been in Japan for 2 weeks, I've missed doing this. I didn't take any stitching with me. And previous to the trip, I had been doing junk journals, building and trying out different ways of binding them, Mod Podging and finishing them. So I hadn't been stitching and I've really missed it. I discovered some incredible fabric stores in Japan that also had a lot of great sashiko items. I also noticed that pure wool balls were cheap. They were a pretty good price in Japan. So I'm not a knitter or a crochet whiz, but if you are planning a trip to Japan, it's definitely worth going to have a look and see if you can find something you love. And I did get a couple of photos, which I'll have to do something with, on ways Japanese designers are upcycling clothing over there. It's something that I'm so interested in, and I was amazed at what people are doing with denim jeans, as well as old pure wool knits, so beautiful cable jumpers, which they cut, pulled apart, rearranged, either using other jackets and things for the armholes, or just spun them around. So a much bigger jumper, spun it around into a button-up cardigan, but more of a jacket style, like building an interior, like a flannelette shirt interior. Really beautiful. So they were pricey, but I think to get an item like that is well worth it. And I did notice the value in clothing and repurposing old clothing. So making your old clothes then into clothes for your children was a big thing. And just some really clever design ideas. So it's something that I would like to learn a little bit more about and watch or follow designers where they're doing some really interesting things. So I'm always time poor. Like, you know, as much as I want to be doing so much sewing and creating, it is hard because I run my online shop, my retail store. I have another space in Blackheath at the Victory Theatre. That's open 7 days a week. So even if my shop isn't open, you can pop over there. And then I still design it all. So I design all the T-shirts, tea towels, notebooks, socks, greeting cards, blah, 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 blah. And I've got to have the headspace to create, to come up with ideas, or people say they want a certain idea. I've got to give myself that time to, think about it. So I do feel overwhelmed a lot. And even in Japan, I was sort of, I guess, fantasizing about the idea of doing something else or not running a shop. But I walked in today and just fell in love again and love our workshops there and, connection with people. So I'm just being a little bit gentler with myself about it and just easing back into it. And of course, I have incredible customers and people that visit, and people are so kind and supportive when I say, guys, I've hit a wall, I'm tired, I'm not doing anything today, orders are going out another day, as well as having 2 weeks off and telling people your orders will only go out once a week. So yeah, I'm pretty lucky, and everyone's been very generous in allowing me to do that for 2 weeks. So, we've got to have some time out, don't we? And we've got to have holidays occasionally. Then I moved on here. This is the collar, and I wanted to keep going. I've been using little scraps of fabric here and there, and I love that I know the story of each piece of fabric and can remember it. So it's quite fun to wear something and carry that item with you. I carry little pouch bags with me to Japan, and I thought I'll keep going on the collar and stitching it. I kept thinking, well, that'll be fun. And you'll see halfway through, it's my brain. I changed tactics and sort of wandered off and came back with a different idea. I think this is where I thought I tied a knot, but I didn't. I can't remember what I did here. I did something where I stuffed it up. I also get performance anxiety in front of this camera because if nobody's watching, I don't seem to be making any kind of mistakes. And I guess if you make videos on YouTube, you'll know what I'm talking about. There, you can see my blouse has gone in the wash a couple of times. It's held up really well. And I just go through and trim anything I don't like. I haven't seen any breaks in the stitching or anything like that here. But if I did, I think I'd be pretty excited because it's an opportunity to create more stitches or to add another patch. Yep, I knew it. Yeah, I thought I did that. I thought I'd put a knot in the bottom and I hadn't, or it had gone through. I think that's what happened. And I know I shouldn't apologise for my hands. It's a really bad thing to apologise for your creative hands. But yeah, I've been in the garden again. Picking parsley and deadheading some of my flowers and that kind of thing. In Japan, I found it very hard to get fresh vegetables. There's a lot of like cooked vegetables and what do you call it? Like, oh God, my brain's dead. But more in vinegar. So I guess, what do you call that? Gosh, my brain is just gone. Sort of like kimchi, but I know that's Korean. So I came back and have been very excited about having salads and greens. Plus it's 30 degrees here, so, a salad goes down really nicely. So I can see in my garden I need to invest in some more bits and pieces. Some things have died in all this heat that we've had. And I am very excited about doing a bit of that. So like a trip like that, Japan was very exhausting. I had my 2 kids, my mother, my sister and her daughter, and then we met some of our American relatives. There was another 6 of them, and also saw some of our Japanese friends. And I do have some of my friend Ryoko's beautiful obis and kimonos she gave me. So I'm deciding what to do with those, whether I sell them, repurpose them, whatever. She's finished with them. She's in her 70s and she said, no, I don't wear them anymore. They're too annoying and cumbersome. And I'm thrilled because they're hers. I did pick up some really beautiful vintage kimonos, but I think hers, I'm looking at them quite differently. So I just found a bit of this very cute fabric and thought, let's put a little snippet of that on there. I kind of like that it's postage stamps from around the world. Kind of fits with my recent travels, even though I didn't go to Paris. I've never been to Paris. So here I'm just finding a little snippet there. I'm thinking, yep, I like the orange in that. I like the contrast. I'm not going to worry about doing anything clever with it. It's just going straight on. So sometimes I'll sashiko stitch over the top of them. I think this I will go over later, maybe with a different thread. But what I'm doing now is securing the edges. I don't know if you can hear that rustling. I'm sitting in one of my kids' bedrooms because it's so noisy in our little house. And there's a rabbit sitting here with me who's playing in a paper bag. So I watch all these videos where people are doing all this beautiful stuff and, they have pretty settings and lots of dreamy footage, and my house is always chaos. I'm trying to do videos where we've got two rescue cats, who get on really fine. And all of a sudden, I'm trying to do something kind of magical, and I have to always mute all the sounds because someone's burping, or someone's flushing the toilet, or a dog's barking, and these cats are often fighting in the middle of it. So, it doesn't really sell the dream on YouTube, does it? Anyway, I can only do what I can do. And of course my shop is gorgeous, but it's on the highway, so it's noisy. I just can't win. I need to escape somewhere and have this retreat just for me, maybe. So, I can dream. So anyway, I don't know if you can hear the rabbit. He doesn't actually make any noise. He just scurries around and makes physical noise with things around him. And he's also eating some greens too, so he's chomping away. And I love that I can walk out into my garden and feed him raspberry leaves and mint and lots of grass and dandelions. I mean, it's great having a pet that also loves your... he's really shredding this bag. Loves greens from the garden. So, the dogs and cats aren't so practical because they need their own food, but the rabbit has his pellets and things as well as our garden. And no, he doesn't roam because we have feral rabbits roaming, and we're always worried about myxomatosis. So, so many things to think about, isn't there? Anyway, I'm waffling when I should be talking about this. So I'm just filling in some gaps. I really love filling in the gaps. There's something about that, adding different colours and things. And you'll see the cottons, or I guess they're synthetic, the ones I've been using here. What I've been doing is I'm getting annoyed with having lots of ends of my threads everywhere. So the last couple of projects, I have to use whatever's lying around. I can't go and open up another new fresh thread. So these ones are all in a big heap next to my computer, and I go through and pull them all out, and the pile's getting much smaller. And so I have less colour choice, but I want to use up what I've got rather than having, have 30 balls of thread out rather than 60 balls of unfinished thread. So I don't know if you do that. I was looking at, was it Kmart or Big W, one of those today, and there were some really good little, they're plastic drawer sets, I think for crafting or beading or something. And I thought, would they be good to separate all the colours and things? But I'm a bit messy, so it would take some dedication to keep refilling those and putting them back in at night. I don't know. And then I'd be wanting to keep the threads out anyway because I'm working on projects thinking I'll never find that colour again. So I think I would sneakily get myself out of doing the right thing. I don't know. If you've got some better ideas, I'd love to hear. And of course, I'm calling out to the very small few that follow me. But if you head over to Instagram and Facebook, you'll see there's a much larger following. So it's just YouTube I'm new to, and TikTok. I'm growing those two channels. I'd like to focus on YouTube more of the crafting. I have been sharing Japan, and I really love making those reels. Wouldn't it be fun to travel all the time? But I on Instagram and Facebook, I do share more of my Australiana, my political, my feminist T-shirts and other things that I do. And YouTube has that capacity to do long reels, so I'm busily showing what else I like to do. So there's nothing particularly tricky on any of this video that I'm doing. I just thought we could hang out for a bit. So I would love to know what your channel is or what you like to do, and is there a way I can see what you're doing? Is there something I can follow, or is there something that you love that you can share and say, hey, check this chick out, or check this channel out, they do some really good stitching. I'd like to learn that. I'd like to learn, just, I don't know, tips, tricks, techniques, whatever that other people are using, and get the hang of it, because I only know from a lifetime of my mother was in the second-hand clothes business, so I learnt to hem and repair and sew on buttons from her and my grandmother. She was also in second-hand clothes. I should do a reel on all that one day. and our history. But I like to stitch the way I like to stitch and darn and fix things, and I look at that, some of that really delicate stuff and think, oh, I wonder if I could actually do it. So I don't know if I can, but dedication, patience, all of that, I'm learning. 52 and I'm learning. So anyway, you can see this is sort of coming together. I love the patchiness. I had a girlfriend years ago. She travelled to India and the crotch of her pants broke. She had like black linen pants, and she took them to a local tailor, and he put like almost fluorescent bright floral fabric in the crotch. And she said every time I sat or turned, people would stare at my crotch because it would be electric pink flowers, which is really funny. And at the time I thought, gosh, that's like, why would he do that? That's so crazy. But now, in this era of patching and colour and things like that, I think, you know what, that's pretty cool. I kind of like that he did that. So, not that it, anyone needs a floral fluoro crotch, but yeah, it shows what we can do. Perhaps if there was more patches all over the pants, it would look really great. Or, I don't know, I can see this thread is cheap, so it's not doing great compared to some of the other ones I've got. So that's another thing I'm learning as well about the quality of threads. And I did buy some really good needles overseas. I do find, because I'm so rough and ready, I tend to break them or damage them. I kind of need these big, bulky, cheap ones, and I move through them pretty quick. But I got some really good tulip ones, and they're a little bit delicate for me. And I found a beautiful shop in Kanazawa, which was specialising in like a craft museum. I bought needles from them. I haven't tested them yet. I did want to put some of those with some of the goodies I was selling, so I should probably test one and make sure I like them before I do that. But I thought that was fun to receive a beautiful needle from Japan in with whatever else I'm selling. I've got fabrics, I've got stationery, I've got paper ephemera, I've got kimonos, I've got a little bit of ceramics. Japanese are so good with their ceramics. Anyway, you can see how much fun. Can you see how much fun? What am I saying? You can imagine how much fun I've had in Japan. I'm still jet lagged, I swear. I got back 2 days ago. And I was sleeping on the floor and, rough and tough pillows and things like that. So it is so nice to come home to my own bed and be comfortable and relaxed, and my back doesn't hurt. So going away is really good for appreciating what you've got, that's for sure. So I think I'm coming to an end here. I can just see where we're up to. I think I finish up here thinking, I can't go any further. The stitch is going to get caught on top of all the other ones. But I hope you've enjoyed hanging out for a while. I'm trying to make some longer videos, and then I get stressed on what to show you. I'd love it if you checked out my Japan videos. A few people said that they enjoy those ready for their trips. They can use them as inspiration, which is great. And I'd love to get to India, I think, next, or Korea. That's my next plan, but it won't be for a couple of years. But anyway, that's that. And I don't worry about the threads showing. I don't worry about anything. You can always put a paddle inside to hide it if you hate it. See inside there? But I don't care. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video and hanging out with me tonight. It's a bit dark, as you can see on my video, but it was a lot of fun. So see ya. Bye.